Upon thinking back on the events of Pizzeria Simulator, a theory spawned in my head based on not only what we see within said game, but also in the future of the series like Security Breach and Secret of the Mimic, with this theory being that Edwin could have had a hand in FNAF 6's fiery ending. During Pizzeria Simulator, we know that after the bankruptcy of Fazbear Entertainment and the events of FNAF 3, Henry would open up his fake pizzeria, luring all the possessed animatronics to the location, with Michael eventually showing up to his own quest to stop his undead father and end his horrible misdeeds. However, one line said in relation to Mike is interesting, as Henry states that Michael was not who Henry had made the job listing for, and whoever this person was had an exit plans out for them.
And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be.
Later on, during Security Breach, we learned that long after the events of FNAF 6, the remains of Henry's pizzeria will fall into a sinkhole, with Fazbear Entertainment building the Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex over the top of the buried pizzeria. Switching over to Ruin and Tales from the Pizzaplex, we see various old and withered costumes from Murray's Costume Manor, with these costumes not only being within the underground lair of the Mimic during Ruin, but also within the costume room in the main pizzeria itself, showing that Henry had access to old things that used to belong to Murray in his factory. The presence of the suits, as well as the architect we see in the Ruin DLC, also implies that deeper underneath the ruins of Henry's pizzeria was what remained of the lower levels of Murray's Costume Manor itself. Lastly, during Secret of the Mimic, we see that Fiona, still attempting to keep the Mimic safe, will create the Cradle program, which would make it so the Mimic would be kept contained and confined within the manor, with the old and decrepit Mixes machine also being present within the bowels of Henry's pizzeria. With all this information and details in mind, my theory is that while setting up his grand scheme to end everything that Afton had started, the troubled man would stumble into the violent M2, who was still hiding within the underground sections of Murray's. Now having the violent endoskeleton within the labyrinth, as well as having to acquire Afton and his unfortunate victims, Henry would find a way to contact Edwin, convincing him to help him with not only M2, but also the rest of the plans due to their likely mutual hatred for William, with the grief-struck inventor helping Henry with acquiring some of his old costume for the pizzeria, as well as installing the Mixes machine at the pizzeria to keep the Mimic inside, as well as potentially helping with the creation of Lefty, giving how similar he functions to his version of Springlock suit seen in During Secret of the Mimic. Eventually, Henry's plan will be put into motion, with Michael ending up in the position that Edwin was supposed to be in, where everything burning down except for the Mimic, who would survive the blaze and continue to be held captive within the deeper levels of the pizzeria, all the way into the era of the Pizzaplex.